Yeah, when I was staying at the neighbor's house across the street from where they live, my telepathic ability just opened up, and I heard Dwayne, and he said, "My daughter is dead." And I thought to myself, his daughter isn't dead. And then he said, "Well, if she's not dead, then I'll kill her." Around that time, there were also a lot of birds going off, and the birds are like guides for me. And so birds and angels and my twin flame was saying that me and my twin flame were confronting Dwayne, and I was saying, "Dwayne, you knew you were a child molester." And we repeated it 3 times. And then my guides were telling me that one day my twin flame and I are going to be able to prove that he was or is a child molester. I was going to say something else. I can't remember what it was now. I'm trying to think. I just plugged up my phone. My phone is dying. I'm in the Philippines, as you may know right now. But yeah, they are just out there. They're lying about me, of course. I told them, I said, I don't have a problem taking this further as far as legal action with them lying about me publicly, saying that I was a drug user and that I was in mental institutions because they're trying to destroy my character. They're doing character assassinations that have no basis in reality. They can't prove anything they're saying because none of it is true. There's no documentation to prove any of it. It's all lies. But they're just deflecting. And Dwayne told me himself that when I left in 2020, that he went out and told everyone because he didn't want himself to look bad. He told everyone that me, Eric, and Henry were using drugs, and that me and Henry were having marital problems as a way to get all of the questions off of his back as to why me, Eric, and Henry left. But I can't remember. I was going to say something else. I think it was about Jeremy. Oh, yeah. So I had a dream that I was telling Jeremy. Oh, yeah. Well, I had a dream when I was still in Mexico, and I was across the street at the neighbor's house, and I saw Kevin, and Kevin was just like a robot, zombied out, and he was just repeating all of the bullshit from Dwayne. He just had his mind was I don't know how to say it, taken over. It was just he was just gone, and of course they were trying to convince me to come back to their shit, but oh my god, yeah, no, they're just so terrible towards people. And I'm trying to think, Jeremy, within the experience, what was going on there? Oh yeah, then I had another dream, or in the same dream, I can't remember, of Jeremy, and I said, "Jeremy, why aren't you talking about what has happened with Dwayne? You're supposed to be talking about your experience." And he was just "I know, I just haven't done it yet. I know." And then I had understood that Kevin, his whole role of being there and making all the videos, and Kevin has been losing his mind for quite some time, by the way, because Dwayne has lost his mind. Dwayne lost his mind, according to his daughter, 2 decades ago. And that's why in 2020, Dwayne scapegoated me. They're really good at scapegoating people. They're really good at triangulation. And they had scapegoated me and that I was the crazy one, when really Henry told me that Dwayne was losing his mind. And that's really what was going on. And so they did force, it did push me to a point of insanity. And anyway, but I didn't go to a mental institution or any bullshit like that. That never happened. But anyway, yeah, because he's like living with a monster. And when you live with a monster, if you are aware that you're living with a monster, you'll die. Like, it will literally kill you. And so that's what was happening. As both of these last 2 times I've been starting to exit living with them, I start to awaken, and then I, because I'm realizing that he's a monster. So yeah, I hope he finds freedom one day. I really do. But Kevin, again, he is supposed to be telling people what's going on too. And Kevin, I know he's just down there losing his mind. I mean, as within probably the first week of Jeremy and Kevin moving down there, they wanted to leave. They were like complaining. Kevin was like, why the hell did Dwayne and Ava and Val even invite him to live down there? But he's very scared because Dwayne is always talking about how people won't get into the real universes. So that's why Kevin stays. And yeah, Jeremy was eliciting me within the first week to move to another property with himself, Jeremy, and Kevin. And I thought to myself, well, you guys aren't even treating me the way I want to be treated, so I don't really want to go living with y'all either. Especially, I didn't want to go living with Jeremy at the time. I didn't think his behavior was, I just wasn't really down for it, and I personally didn't have enough financial support, and then I didn't feel enough like masculine protection, security, so I just wasn't really up for it. Even though I had told Jeremy while I was still in the United States and he was still in the United States, I have tried to get Jeremy and told him many times that him and I needed to go live somewhere else and not live with Dwayne, Val, and Ava, even though they kept saying they wanted us to come move in with them. And Dwayne has started to lie and say that only Val wanted me to come down there, when that's not true at all. Dwayne definitely was getting on the phone with me, asking me to move down there and move into the house, and so was Ava. And I was thinking to myself, well, I really don't want to do that because I know how it is to live with them. Because that was what happened with me and my husband. That was really what tore us apart, was we needed to get away from them and go live somewhere else. But anyway, so I was telling Jeremy, like, dude, we really need to live, somewhere else, not live with them. But Jeremy wasn't heeding my wisdom. And so because he wasn't heeding my wisdom, both him and I ended up living down there. And that's why at first I didn't want to live in the house. I just wanted to live on the property. They also changed the money situation on me. Originally, they told me I could pay $50 US to live on the property. And so I booked a plane ticket down there to just stay outside on the property and then possibly move inside of the property when it got cold during the winter time. And Dwayne had told me, oh, this will be your room, yada, yada, yada. And then after I booked my plane ticket, they changed the price on me, up over like $100 in price difference. So I had to do all these tricks to make the money less. And then they got pissed off when they found out that I figured out how to get, pay the utility bills for less money. All their utilities were still on. Everything was still working. I just figured out how to get the price lowered because that was my responsibility, was the utilities. But they just wanted to take my energy. And so anyway, and then it got to the point where then they changed it and said that it was only Jeremy's room. And so Jeremy had the authority to kick me out and kick Kevin out. So them two have gotten into all this bad bullshit, and Jeremy and Kevin have all this bad blood against each other right now. And they are having dreams of like Kevin killing Jeremy because Kevin is fucking full of rage. He's fucking pissed. He's a 40-year-old man being treated like, just abundantly ridiculous. And anyway, so Yeah, so Jeremy actually decided that he wanted to have power over me. He wanted to feel like he was superior to me in wisdom or, or whatever. He wanted to kind of exert some kind of control, because he's hating his life living down there with, Ava and Dwayne. And, Kevin and Jeremy, they have a huge attitude towards Ava, and it's partly founded, and Val has a very bad, unfounded attitude towards Ava. Dwayne treats Ava like complete shit. I mean, it is just insane how, zombied out Ava is. So anyway, Jeremy then took it upon himself to kick me out of the room when it was cold outside. And I was just fucking freezing. Like, I was like eating my food and my hands were shaking. It was so fucking cold outside. And I mean, I could go on and on about all of that bullshit because, Ava came out there, tried to convince me, oh, it's not cold out here, Kelsey. Meanwhile, I'm literally fucking shaking. And I have always had a low body blood temperature, period, since I was a young fucking girl. Number two, these people can't tell me how the fuck I fucking feel. That's how bad of they're huge gaslighters. And Ava's telling me this shit while she's in the fucking house. So, and she has multiple fucking heaters to make her room warm. And I'm just like, fuck off, lady. And her and Val were trying to convince me. Val was like trying to tell me to be a fucking prostitute. Somebody else who lives down there was getting really worried about me, that they were going to force me into prostitution. And I know that's where they wanted me to be, because that's what I saw and was experiencing back in May 2020. And I don't know that Henry really consciously realized that's what they were doing. I mean, Henry's really intuitive and aware, so if I told him, I'm sure he would know. But anyway, the thing is that Ava was telling me to go have sex with the neighbor so that I could stay at the neighbor's house. And I'm just like, you're fucking crazy. So this is what I was experiencing down there. And, that's just how much they didn't give a fuck. They do not care about people. They are not into community or anything like that. It's just a dictatorship. It's just a control thing. They don't care about, like, other people, like, getting their needs met, being okay. I mean, Ava, Dwayne made Ava like she was a godsend because Ava let me sleep in her fucking lawn chair outside because my tent had flooded. It had been, everything had been damaged. And then what else? They didn't let people go in the house. They were locking the doors on us. They were making us shower outside. And, so then we had the problem of there's people outside that are naked, and it just wasn't a proper environment. And then, I had problems, with my health, so I needed to go into the bathroom. Dwayne was telling me I was making it up. He was telling Jeremy he was making up his health problems. The water was poisoned. The neighbors were coming over and were very concerned because our water was poisoned. So me and my neighbor got the water changed. Dwayne didn't want to get it changed. But Jeremy and Kevin were explicitly becoming sick because of the water. Ava had even been sick because of the water. Dwayne would not confront the landlord to get the toilet fixed. So Ava's like in pain, having to shit in buckets in the house. She's like over 70 years old. They have all this water out there that is contaminated, that they wash their fucking clothes and their dishes in. The housemaid didn't even want to work for them anymore because the stench and the bacteria growing was so bad. It would literally like repel me from going near the house, what Dwayne had going with his water systems. The smell was so bad of bacteria. And I'm trying to think what else, So Jeremy, eventually he basically kicked me out of the fucking room, gave me these hours that I could be in the room. It was disgusting, quite frankly. And, but I don't really hold anything against Jeremy and Kevin in a lot of ways. I know they're oppressed there, but they need to work on themselves, especially Jeremy, with him scapegoating me and stuff like that. Jeremy kind of is just out there looking for power, I think, because he is very psychic and intuitive and has all of these abilities, and I don't know, maybe he needs to get a little bit more grounded. But yeah, they eventually, it was really bad when Jeremy decided to kick me out of, to kick a woman out, 30-year-old lady out of the room when it was very cold outside. It wasn't very caring at all. So yeah, there was just a whole bunch of problems. They're all about getting over on each other and, all this bullshit.